Welcome to Monday's lesson. I'm Mr. Trotta. Before we get started today, a little magic trick for you. I want you to think of a number between 1 and a million.
We interrupt this lesson for today's important lesson objective.
Obviously, your number is 576,342. Not bad, huh? All right, so let's get started with today's lesson. It's a long one. There's a lot of division today, but nothing that you guys are not capable of doing. The first problem we are going to have here is going to be division with regrouping, one-digit divisors, three-digit or four-digit dividends, and we're starting with 4 into 9,416. So what we want to do here is rewrite this equation into a much more friendlier format. So I'm going to start by writing down my 4 into 9,416. I've got a new tablet, a new pen, so I'm trying it out here. Hopefully it works well. Let's see if I can erase. Ooh, oh, I can. Make a better 9 here. 9,000. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is look at this 4 and see how many times I can fit it into my first digit here, which happens to be a 9. So 4 can go into 9. If it goes in 2 times, which was what I'm thinking, that's going to be 8. If I put it in 3 times, that's going to be 12. 12 is much bigger than 9, so I'm going to stick with that too. So I'll start with my 2 up on top. So I'm going to multiply here 4 times 2. I get an answer of 8. And then I want to subtract that. I'll make a line right across here. And I'll do the rest of this over here in green. Uh-oh, tablet problems. Oh my. All right, so I've got green. 9 minus 8, I get an answer of 1. And then I'm going to bring down the next digit right next to it, which is a 4. And now I'm going to try and see how many times I can get 4 to go into 14. And before I said I had 4 times 2, I got 8. 4 times 3, I get 12, which is smaller than 14, which is good. If I do 4 times 4, I get 16. 16 is too big, so I'm going to go back to that 3 and then stick with that over here. I'm going to have 4 times 3. 3 times 4, I get an answer of 12, so I can do that subtraction right down here. And when I subtract these, put this in purple, 4 minus 2, I get an answer of 2. There we go. And I'm going to bring down the 1 that I did not use, and I get an answer of 1. Uh-oh, camera's sketching out here. This isn't good. I'm not moving anymore. All right, let's can this. No, that's not. All right. So we're going to see how many times 4 can go into 21. So if I just stick with what I had before is of 4 times 3, I get 12. 4 times 4 is 16. That's still too small. 4 times 5 is 20, which is just shy of what I need. If I go higher than 5, I'm going to have 4 times 6, which is 24. That number is too big. So I'm going to stick with 5. So I'll put a 5 up here right above that 1. 4 times 5, I get an answer of 20. I'm going to do my subtraction here. I get a 1, and then I can bring down the 6 I didn't use before. I'll do this one back over in red. So I can bring down that 6. And now I'm looking for how many times 4 can go into 16. 4 can go into 16 exactly 4 times. So I can put my 4 up here on top. And I'll just double check this. 4 times 4 is 16. And when I subtract those two, I end up with 0, meaning I am done with the equation. So my answer in this case is going to be 2,354. Now, when you are asked to put this into Schoology, you are not going to put that comma. You're just going to put in 2, 3, 5, and 4, and then you're all done. Not too bad. Let's go over to one more problem, but before I do that, it's time for a bad joke of the day. First one up today is, sometimes I tuck my knees into my chest and lean forward. That's just how I roll. I like that one. So next problem, very similar. Now we're working with 7 going into 9,968. So when I do that, I'm going to rewrite this as 7 going into 9,968. 968. So the first digit I want to see here, if this goes into, is this working this time? Still no. So I want to see if 7 can go into 9. It can go in exactly one time. If I go more than 1, if I go 2, that means I'm going to have 14, and 14 is much too big. So 1 times 7, I get an answer of 7. I'm then going to subtract these numbers, and I end up getting a 2. So I'll put that over in green. And then I'm going to bring down the next digit, so right next to it, which is a 29. And I want to see how many times 7 can go into 29. So I need to remember my 7 times tables here. If you're having difficulty, it might make sense for you on the side here. I'll do this over in black. Is just go through some of your 7 times tables. So if you have 7, and we'll say we're going to times this by 3, and by 4, and by 5. Got a little bit of a lag here. Maybe I need to hold this up a little bit more. Times 5. There we go. That is the secret. Times 6. So I have 7 times 3, and I would get 21. If I have 7 times 4, I would get 28. If I have 7 times 5, I have 35. 7 times 6, I get an answer of 42. And I can keep going on, so that way if I need to remember my 7 times tables, they're right there for me. So going back here, I have 29. I want to see how many times I can get 7 to go into 29. And when I do that, if I look over here, 28 is my closest number to 29 without going over, so that means it can go in 4 times. So I'm going to put my 4 right up here on top. Let's see in purple. So 4 times 7, I get that answer of 28. And now I'm going to do my subtraction. 9 minus 8, I'm going to get an answer of 1. I'll put that over in black. And then I can bring down this 6, which I didn't use. Ooh. Got a little bit of lag. I'm not liking this. So then I want to see how many times 7 can go into 16. And if I look over here, I had 7 times 3 is 21, which is too big. So I want to go 1 less and do 7 times 2. And if I do 7 times 2, that's 14. And if I do 6 minus 4, I get an answer of 2. And I can bring down that 8 from before, put that back in red. So the 8's going to come right down. And I have 28. How many times can 7 go into 28? Well, we already know that. It goes in 4 times. So I put a 4 right over here. 4 times 7 is 28. When I do that subtraction, I get 0, which means I'm done. My answer is going to be, is very nice, 1,424. So let's go on to the next problem. And this one I want you to try on your own, and then you can put your answer in. So try that now. All right, now that we're back, you've put your answer in. Let's do a quick review of this one. I want to see how many times 3 can go into 7,662. And give you a nice, small, easy number to work with, a 3 here. I'm going to see how many times 3 can go into 7. 3 can go in twice. And 2 times 3 gives me 6. And when I do the subtraction, I'm going to get a 16. I want to see how many times 3 can go into 16. That can go in 5 times. So I'll put a 5 up here. 5 times 3 is 15. And 6 minus 5, I get an answer of 1. And then I have to bring down this other 6 I did not use. So again, I'm trying to see how many times 3 can go into 16. I did the same thing on the last step, and that was 5 times. So I'm going to put this in here as a 5. And 5 times 3, I get an answer of 15. 6 minus 5 is 1, and then I can bring down this 2 from before. And now how many times can 3 go into 12? That's nice. It goes in exactly 4 times. And 3 times 4 is 12. Double check that. I get 0, so my answer is going to be 2,554. Got one more type of problem I'm going to have you work on today, and these are also not that fun. Now we're working with double digits, 2-digit numbers here. So when I work with these, I'm going to write these out the same way I did the last one. So let's start by writing this out as 47. This is going to go into 188. Not too bad. So then, now that I have 2 digits here, 2 digits here. I want to see how many times the 47 cannot necessarily go into the first digit, but how many times it can go into the 2 digits. Now 18 is smaller than 47, so it's going to have to go in multiple times. So I want to start off by taking a look at 40 and say 40 is just shy of 50. So if I think of 3, if I do 2 times, how should I write this? I'm going to say 50. If I have 50 and I multiply that by 2, I'm going to get 100. If I have 50 times 3, I'm going to have 150. If I have 50 times 4, I'm going to have 200. Now, if I look at 188, 188 is much smaller than 200, so I can't use that 4, but I can use the 3. So I'm going to put the 3 right over this last 8. And the reason I don't put it over this 8 here is because 47 is not going into 18, it's going into 188. So 3 times 7, I'm going to get an answer of 21. So I'll put this in green here. 3 times 7 is 21, so the 1 comes over here. The 2 comes up on top. Well, that was really quick too. Let's redo that. There we go. 3 times 4 is 12, plus the 2 is 14. And now I have to do my subtraction. 8 minus 1 is going to be 7. 8 minus 4 is going to give us 4. And I have an answer of 47. 47 is the exact same numbers here. So this is good that we're making this mistake because it tells us I can actually fit 47 in here one more time. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say I don't want this 3 here. I'm going to put in a 4. So I'm going to erase all this stuff I have over here. How many times can 4 go into 7? It can go in, 4 times 7 is 28, so I have my 8 here. The 2 is still over here from last time. 4 times 4 is 16, plus the 2 is 18. Now I have the same exact number and a 0, so it all works out. So sometimes you're going to make mistakes. You're going to pick a number that's too low, and if you end up seeing the same exact number, that means it can fit in one more time. If you have a number that is way too big down here and you go to do the subtraction and you can't, that means you went too high. So before we go into the next example, I have my other bad joke of the day. I don't know if I did this one before or not. Why don't ants get sick? Because they have little antibodies. It's pretty bad. All right, so my audio here, video is sketching out. All right, I'm back. I have a different camera. I was trying to be all fancy with a GoPro recording HD, but it's not working out so well. So let's stick with the tried and true FaceTime camera. All right, so I have 198 divided by 33. I want to start by putting this in and rewriting it into a much easier to work with pattern. So let's start off with running this as 33 going into 198. So I'm going to try to avoid the mistake I made last time and going too short. So what I want to think about here is how many times can 30, because I'm going to estimate, how many times can 30 go into roughly 200? So if 30, if I start counting by 30s, I have 30. Then if I have another 30, I have 60. Then I have 90. Then I have 120. Then I have 150 for 5. 6 would be 180. 7 would be too high. So let me just start with my 6 and 7 times 33. So I'm going to write out my 33 twice. And I think the answer is going to be 6 or 7. I'm not sure. So if I do 3 times 6, I get an 8. And then I have a 1. 3 times 6 is 18. Plus my 1 is 19. So that checked out. If I did the 33 times 7, 3 times 7 is going to be a 21. 3 times 7 is 21, plus the 2 is going to be 23, and that's too high. So this is just another way to do it. You want to make sure you can try and take a guess, and then same time it goes in. Last time I did it, and I didn't really do all this work, and it ended up not working out. So if I do 33 times 6, I end up getting 198, so I can put my 6 back over here. I'm just going to double check that. 6 times 3 is 18, so I'm going to put down the 8, carry the 1. 6 times 3 is still 18, plus the 1 is a 19, so it checks out. All right, and I lost track as to which problem this is. Let's see if there's another one. Yes, there is another one, so that was the second one. remember the camera issues. All right, so I would like you to try this one on your own now. All right, now that you're back, let's go over this type of problem. First, I'm going to rewrite it again. 34 going into 204. And I'm hoping you did more of what we did the second time, trying to estimate how many times 34 can go into something around 200. So it's 30 going to 200. Again, I'm going to think that's between the 6 and 7 times. So if I have 34 times 6 and 34 times 7, 4 times 6 is going to be 24. 6 times 3 is 18, plus the 2 is 20. 204, that works out perfectly. Now, if you happen to have written down, say, 34 times 5, 4 times 5 can be 20, 0, and then the 2 comes up. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2, you would have had 170. So if you had 170 and you saw that that was too low, then you should be aiming to go higher, and you get 6 in there. So if I put a 6 over here, 6 times 4, I'm just double checking this, is 24. 2 comes up on the top. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 2 is 20, and that checks out. All right. Yep, that's all the problems I'm going to give you for today. All right. So the secret word for today's video is going to be yarn. So write that down as the first question, and you'll have credit for today's video. Again, I have not seen many of you during office hours. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message on Schoology if you don't want to help on office hours. But I did notice that a lot of you last week did not do the week 5 review, and the week before that you didn't do the week 4 review. Those are the big point assignments for each week, so make sure you're getting those in so that I don't have to give you guys zeros. So hopefully I'll talk to you guys soon. See you tomorrow.